We do have a guest merch. Can you set it up, and I'll put him on the screen?
Yeah, he got in a little heat last week from the New Hampshire Libertarian Twitter account by posting some truth, I guess.
I was dying.
As I described him before we went to break, I think the second or third most famous libertarian at this point.
Probably.
Reed Coverdale. What's going on, man?
What's going on, dude?
A lot. Although it's finally cooled down. The beginning of this week was a little crazy, but we're doing good. Everything's good.
Man, that was fucking wild, dude.
And now you've been part of this sort of movement of young libertarians that aren't very well liked by libertarians, I would say, right? So you're part of, like, because I see you do a lot of stuff with Dave Smith and Clint and all those guys, like, so you're part of that whole, like, little bit of an uprising that's been going on, right?
Yeah, although we kind of control things now. It's the Mises Caucus was kind of the underdogs, and they took over the party. But I'm part of the New Hampshire Libertarian Party, where we're like more extreme than the Mises Caucus. Like, we sometimes make the Mises Caucus go, "Whoa, guys, whoa, easy!" Like, but our job is like kind of push the Overton window, shock people into new conversations, and as you see, it was effective this weekend for sure.
Real quick,
the guy that ran I'm sorry, it's 10 years ago. He ran Daryl something.
Daryl Perry.
Daryl Perry, that's his name.
Yep.
He's the one. He's got the best quote of all time because he's like, they were talking about driver's licenses, and then he's like, "What's next? A license to operate a damn toaster oven." It's like, he was like super libertarian. Like, I don't even think we should have driver's licenses. I don't think we should pay insurance for anything. Like,
it was so funny. And the union leader, they were criticizing us for the McCain tweet and saying, like, we lost all credibility. We've gone from running a serious governor campaign in New Hampshire once to this, and they're referencing the Daryl Perry run for governor in New Hampshire. So that's as serious as we have been, and then we suddenly just lost all of our credibility that we totally had with the mainstream media after John Brennan called us terrorists and domestic extremists at the beginning of last year. So I don't know. It's funny to see how people have reacted to it.
I like this. There's no bottom for the Republican Party.
This is, dude. This honestly was one where I was like howling. I mean, a lot of people say, like, when they say, "Oh, I was really," I know I was actually laughing at one point. I was explaining to my wife the original tweet because she asked me, "What's going on?" And I'm explaining it to her, and I'm crying, laughing while I'm saying it. And then she goes, "Did people get mad?" I go, "Oh, people got mad." It was, dude. And the problem with this is like, with this tweet, because everyone's giving you shit, and it's like, "Oh, this is how you get attention, and this is the right way to fucking do it." Look, I don't want to blow up your spot, but can I say what your other Twitter is, the one I sent the link to, or no?
Yeah, why not? I have been banned so many times, so if it gets me,
bro, you want to talk? Hey, Mersh, I didn't even tell Mersh this because you told me, like, during the break while I was, looking at the thing. Hey, Mersh, he tells me, "Hey, send me the Zoom link to my other Twitter account." I'm like, okay. It's at Ulysses Liberty. It's a USS Liberty Twitter page. And Ulysses Liberty. Now I know it's you because I actually liked something from this the other day because it was so funny.
That's very funny.
The description is Google USS Liberty 1967 and dancing is ring. Bro, that's fucking funny.
Based.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just funny, like, the problem is all these people talk tough, right? Like, everyone talks tough, but the moment you expose, this exposes all of them, right? Where it's like, so you don't care. You all call each other war criminals all the time, right? You call each other that all the time. You don't mean it, because everybody wants to talk about people are war criminals until it's time to get rid of war criminals, Then all of a sudden, then everyone's like, "Whoa, hey." Oh, I'm like, and the Meghan McCain thing's the one that got me really mad, because there was a lot of people that were, a lot of Republicans, fucking assholes, that were saying too, that were like, "Oh, she's not her father." I'm like, bro, she co-signed everything her father did. She covered everything he did, and she went on a fucking View and on news programs all the time to say how awesome and brave her dad is. So go fuck yourself. That's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, totally. I mean, Meghan McCain, the idea that she's just like a waitress or some, like, completely innocent relative of John McCain is ridiculous. I mean, you've seen the My Father compilation of her, I'm sure.
Yes,
She's done nothing but grift off of his existence and his death her entire career. And I think she even credits him to joining The View in the first place. Like, she joined The View because she wanted to basically normalize his neoconservative message to middle-aged soccer moms. And, she thinks the January 6th protesters belong in Gitmo. She thinks that Julian Assange should rot in prison. So yeah, fuck this lady. The idea that she's not just an extension of him is ridiculous. And you're right, like this exposed a lot of people, a lot of conservatives, and not just like establishment conservatives, but some people who like to think they're like anti-establishment conservatives. Because what it is you usually have like a purposeful intentional narrative, and then there's an intentional counter narrative that you're kind of permitted to run against the official narrative that they don't like really give you a hard time for. So you can talk about how ridiculous it is that transgender women are on the swim team or whatever. Like, you could talk about how that's stupid, but there are certain things they don't want you to talk about. Like, if you start saying that like Taiwan is the same thing as what's going on in Ukraine, then all the people who are supposedly anti-war, then they like jump on you like, what? Like, are you part of the CCP? Are you blah, blah, blah? Are you all this? It's like, we hate war criminals. We hate people who want to, drag us into this shit. And we think they're the scum of the earth. We think they're Stalin, Hitler, Mao, whatever. They're the same thing. They're not these heroes that we've come to just, basically worship in our daily life. So shocking people into this conversation with, yes, a tweet that was in bad taste. Like, people keep telling us this is disgusting or this is in bad taste. It's like, yes, that was the point. Yeah. And now you're talking about it.
Yeah, and the bad taste thing's always funny to me because it's like, first off, that's fucking depending on who you listen. If you're somebody who lost a kid because they fucking bombed the hospital over there, you probably don't think it's in bad taste. You probably want to see him and his daughter and his entire family fucking rot in hell. So it really is all perspective.
And I just want to make the argument, and I understand that McCain has a checkered past, and
understatement.
I understand that he made some mistakes and that may have cost some lives here.
Yeah.
But, counterpoint to what you just said, have you ever considered the fact that if we're not fighting them over there, we got to fight them over here?
Man. Have you been compromised by Sean Hannity? Have you been compromised by Sean Hannity?
That's my favorite argument, though. I love that one. It's like, bro, if we're not murdering all these people over there and making their sons angry and making them want to kill it, then all their angry sons from them being dead are going to be trying to kill us in New York. And you're like, but they are, and but maybe if you just don't kill his dad, I'm thinking like we might begin the healing process a bit. Stop killing everybody's dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you make a good point that hasn't been drilled into my brain since the time I was 5.
That's true.
Wait, is your dad Dan Crenshaw? Don't question my faith, little girl. I will fucking bury my fist right in your breadbasket if you're a 12-year-old girl or smaller.
Dan Crenshaw is another great example. Like, he's off limits because he lost an eye in the line of duty. So you can't ever criticize him. And, this is just like a broad principle in general. Like, David Hogg is off limits because some of his classmates got shot. Yeah. You can't talk about any of these people because something bad happened to them once.
Alex Jones, we're allowed to just ruin him. And anybody that says, but that's not fair, you can't, that's not how the law works. You go, oh, so the Sandy Hook people, you're glad their kids are dead? And I'm like, nobody said that. I'm just saying that this a defamation case does not
seems like bullshit.
But so the Sandy Hook parents should all just die in the streets homeless? No, but I don't think Alex Jones should have to give them $170 gajillion billion, like a made up child number worth of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's what they always do is so what you really mean is, no, if we really meant that, we would have said that. And that's not what we said, bitch. So shut up.
That's a really good point. Honestly, especially telling you that, it's like, if you look at the Libertarian Party New Hampshire folk at Twitter account, it's like, the one thing you can't say is that they're not direct. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you think they're, I don't look at that and go, man, I wonder what they really think over there. I'm like, oh, I know what they think, obviously. So it's when they put what they want on you and the things you're not allowed to talk about. And you're right. It's like there is certain things that if you bring up, people get really, really angry. And it's sacred cows on both sides, right? There's sacred cows.
Yeah, I grew up in the Bush Doctrine era, so it was, so you hate our troops.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, you don't want to go bomb another country. I guess you hate our troops. I'm like, I feel like the opposite is true. I feel like kind of tired of seeing him coming home missing pieces and shit. You know, like.
Well, one of the guys, he's a libertarian from Pennsylvania. His name's Kyle Matovic. He was going through the replies to that tweet and found a bunch of conservatives who were denouncing us as, disgusting, absolutely abhorrent people or whatever. And he'd go search on their timeline for mean tweets. And so he found like dozens of different examples of these people saying, wow, I could really go for some mean tweets and better policies right now. And then it's like, what the fuck is the difference here? This is a mean tweet. And like, the epitome of mean tweets, good policy is Libertarian Party in New Hampshire. Like, we're way meaner than Trump, but we got way better policies than him too. It's just like, it just kind of revealed that is another false resistance, kind of the whole Trump thing.
Yeah, they want fucking Daily Wire tier fucking boomer mean tweets.
Yeah.
They don't want mean tweets. They want like, oh my god, did he call that girl fat? And it's like, no. This Twitter over here just said he's glad Meghan McCain's fucking war criminal dad died on his fucking death day. How about that? That's mean. All right, and obviously, like fucking anything on Twitter, they have this like weird policy where they don't even tell you what the rules are till you get kicked off. Well, I'm sure you know.
Oh yeah, I do know.
Yeah,
I've been kicked. I was there. I mean, I used to have an account, like 20,000 followers. It's almost been a year since I got kicked off, and it was for just making a joke with a friend, and it was a threat of violence, and repealed it 3 times, had my friend write them. Doesn't matter. Like, it's like they're hovering, waiting for you to make a mistake, and then when you finally make a technical error, they're like, haha, here we go, now we got you.
It's like a cop following you for like 10 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
Waiting for you to do
Same
just
thing.
one thing. Yeah, it is. And there's fucking, nothing to do. But again, it's like all these people denouncing you. I saw a lot of verified accounts, and I'm like, wow, you're still around. And I'm like, wow, this person literally just made you relevant. This tweet made made you relevant again just because you're replying to it. It's like, say what the fuck you want, but who gives a shit? Like, they get mad at you being angry, but nobody gets mad at all the fucking 18-year-olds who had their fucking arms blown off and shit. It's like nobody cares about them. Nobody fuck them. No, but somebody was mean to the fucking narwhal Meghan McCain. Oh no, fuck her. She was built like a goddamn linebacker anyway.
Yeah, and dude, we made it into national news for the first time in over 2 years by making this tweet. And Meghan McCain quote tweeted us 6 times. And
that was so funny, dude. She melted the fuck down.
That was really fucking funny, dude. She kept
really
it.
Was.
She blocked
and,
me.
Like you said, all the blue checks coming out of the woodwork that I hadn't heard from in forever, and suddenly they come out of the woodwork to condemn us. And just like we saw both right and left wing come out to call us bad, we saw that equally with right and left wingers coming out to be like, hey, fuck the McCains. It was kind of cool. You saw like the hardcore left wingers like Caitlin Johnstone,
right,
and people like that, and then the hardcore like libertarian anti-war people kind of coming together. So it was a really interesting moment to watch.
Yeah, because like you were saying earlier about mean tweets and everything, it's just something that everybody says. Nobody means it. You know what I mean? It's like that old Mike Tyson thing. Everyone has a plan to get punched in the mouth, right? Everyone thinks they're for... Really, stuff like this shows you who's for free speech and stuff like that. I saw some fucking libertarian accounts saying they should delete this. I'm like, aren't you supposed to be the freedom people?
They changed their tune real quick.
It was disappointing to see some people like say that this is disgusting and this is worse than what Meghan McCain did, or you have become the same thing as Meghan McCain by doing this. I'm like, I'm sorry, but making a mean tweet doesn't make us the same as someone who promotes war crimes and torture and invading other countries under false pretenses. That doesn't make us the same. I'm sorry.
And I'm also sick of this narrative that, civility, we have to be civil. They wanted to keep some protesters in jail forever because they went to the Capitol that they own. So don't fucking talk to me about civility. Like they always say civility.
They want you dead.
They want you fucking dead. They don't give a fuck about you.
And everybody I know that went like hard right or went like real crazy, right? Mm-hmm. They all just got broken by like how the system changed. Every one of them had one thing in common 10 years ago, and it was just, I just want you to leave me alone, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like, there were a lot of people, even libertarians, that like, I'll compromise. I can't pay $0 in taxes. We're way too far beyond going back to that. But hey, let's talk about where this money's going and let's cut back on what you're taking from me and stop like indoctrinating my kids and stop like fucking with my, messing with my kids' brain and infiltrating churches and like fucking up with my little community. Just leave me alone, man. I just like I just wanted to grill meme is one of my favorite memes of all time because it really does summarize just that kind of rage that's been coming up over the years where people are like, look, I wasn't an angry dude. But you have interrupted me multiple times now.
Yeah,
and I just want to grill. I just want to be left alone, man.
I know this might sound kind of selfish, but I'm kind of glad that all the lockdowns and shit actually happened because it woke so many people up to all this shit that is already going on. Like I remember in 2017 and 2018 and 2019, I was like trying to tell people like, look, Donald Trump is supporting a genocide in Yemen. We're starving, hundreds of thousands of babies and women and civilians to death. Nobody gave a fuck. They're like, okay, Yemen, so what? And then when it came home, when it's like, you can't leave your house, you need to inject this into your body, suddenly people start to give a shit. So even though, yeah, it definitely like ruined a lot of people's lives, which I'm not minimizing by any stretch, it is a good thing that people are finally starting to pay attention to how evil these people are, because a lot of people think they just turned evil, like with the FBI going after Trump and shit. People think, oh, the FBI just became a political lynch mob. And it's like, okay, you don't know about Fred Hampton. You don't know about MLK.
They tried to kill MLK like 3 times and admitted it, which is the worst part. It's like they literally admitted it, and everyone's like, "Yeah, but the FBI." That's why it's like seeing a lot of these same people that I see. I see like Val Dennings is another great example, who's like, "The FBI is great, screw Trump. The FBI, fuck the FBI is so good." And I'm like, and then she'll quote MLK and be like, "Bro, the FBI that like you say you love so much tried to kill this dude like 3 times."
Right? Yeah. No, so it's it doesn't like hit home until they come after you, and now that they've come after us, hopefully people are going to remember going forward. But I'm sure you guys agree with me; they won't remember. No one remembers shit.
Nobody Nobody cares. Nobody remembers, and you know what? They count on that. I mean, now all these people now they're trying to cover their ass about the vaccine. Like Fauci, like, oh, he never said lockdown, and obviously we know he did. But the reality is, most people really don't remember it because they don't care. Like again. But I think, like you said, the lockdown did expose a lot of that. And what's exposing a lot of that now is when you start realizing, like, oh, shit, do we have enough food? Oh, shit, do we have enough gas? That's when people start really going, like, what the fuck's going on here? Why is my money worth so much less? And that's another thing is everyone's screaming at Biden about inflation. He should be screamed at partially, but they were printing money under Trump. They were printing fucking money under Obama, too. Like, you think the money just started fucking being printed under Biden? It fucking wasn't.
Well, that's my biggest problem, too, is like, I'm feeling how Trump fucked us over.
Yeah.
And then having people go, we need Trump again. And I'm like, you do remember Trump's the guy that, like, let us get locked down and, like, started all of this and pushed the vaccine and continue to push the vaccine.
More money than Biden so far.
I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if he's the horse I want to back anymore because he blew it last time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a bit of an accelerationist, as you could tell from the positivity toward the lockdowns or whatever. But 100% when it comes to having a tyrant in charge, I prefer a transparent tyrant. So I think it's great that Biden's in there because he's so bad. He's really even bad. The Democrats have trouble defending him. They're like, are you going to vote for him again in 2024? And every single one of them is like, well, if the president decides to run again, that's his choice. Yeah, that's not what I asked you. Are you going to vote for him again? Well, the voters are going to have to just, that's not what I asked you. They can't.
Bro, that's exactly what Nadler did when they asked him. It was hilarious. He was like, well, that's not what's important right now. That's not what's important right now. I'm like, yeah, no, but like it takes 1 second to answer that. Like, just fucking answer it. So, okay, this is something that I think is, and I'm sure something else you're probably happy about. Seeing all the Republicans for so many years were thin blue lining and fucking bootlicking cops and being cops are so fucking awesome and cops are great. And then realizing that when the fucking tide turns, they're the ones that are going to take your shit. They're the ones that are going to lock you up. They're the ones that are going to shoot Ashley Babbitt in the face. And I think that there is a big shift going on with that. I think there's a lot of less of those thin blue line stuff when now the cops are realizing, look, they're just an arm of the government. It's whoever's in charge is going to aim them at whoever they want because they have a pension.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that is true. I mean, I think people have like hoped a little too hard on that being true, and it's not been as a systemic change as we hope. But I am starting to see it with a lot of people I know. They're starting to realize like, maybe it's not going to be AOC and Nancy Pelosi walking up my driveway to take my guns. That's just going to be a red flag order that a judge signs and the local police come and kick down my door and take it. And then, it wasn't like, Jerry Nadler and Chris Cuomo were walking around and like actually making sure we didn't come out of our houses during lockdowns. That was the police who were doing that. And so, yeah, I think there has been a shift. As the Democrats have gotten worse on war, the Republicans have gotten better on police. So, take whatever trends we can, I guess. I never win anything. So just push people in the right direction.
Hey, hold on, buddy. You're saying Joe Jorgensen wasn't the fucking best?
Oh, my God. Yeah. It's so funny, though, when shit hits the fan, when it's something I don't care about. Like, I really don't care about Roe v. Wade. That's just something I'm not like super hard lined on it either way.
Right.
But seeing everybody flip the fuck out when that got overturned, I was like, I never win anything. Like, nothing that I want to see happen ever happens. So when I see Trump win and people flip out, or Trump lose and people flip out, or Roe v. Wade get overturned and people flip out, like, I love it, because it's like, you guys get to feel how I feel for once. This is how I feel all the time. So you just got to like kind of get all the energy out of those moments, and that's what I kind of live off at this point.
I mean, it's very similar to it's going back. I think you're right about the lockdown, like it's really exposing a lot of flaws and a lot of the things, because I think that at least, like, for example, I don't really care that much. Like, if you're going to push me, I'll tell you my opinion, but I'm not someone who's out there screaming about pro-life or pro-choice either. But for me, the reason I was screaming and laughing and having such a good time was a lot of these people that were saying, my body, my choice, my body, my choice, were telling me to take a shot that I don't want to fucking take, or wear a mask, or I lose my fucking job. So then when it happened to them, I'm sorry, I'm human. I loved it. it. I'm like, what happened? You don't like the government telling you what you can do with your body? Fucking sucks, right?
I enjoyed it a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah,
it was one of those where it was like, okay, on principle, no. But I was like, hey, you know what? Well, fucking turnabout is fair play, assholes,
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way. It's also funny, like, going back to the debates in 2016 and seeing Trump say, like, we need to close down certain sections of the internet. And you can talk about freedom of speech all you want, but, some of these people are just dangerous, and we can't have our young people listening to them. And it's like the exact fucking excuse they use to kick him off social media.
Exactly. Exactly.
2021. It's just like, Jesus Christ, do you guys ever fucking learn?
And another perfect example. What was the Trump quote about taking guns, Mersh?
Can we just take their guns and we'll figure it out or whatever? It
Due process. Second. Take
due
the
process
guns first,
later.
due process
It's like,
second.
yeah. And again, it's like the same thing with me. It's like, I argue with people about. I always say the same thing. It's like, bro, he brought John Bolton in on purpose. Like, and look, I'm sorry. Don't tell me there was no red flags with that. Like, come on.
You can't drain a swamp unless you dredge it first.
Oh,
you gotta make the swamp deeper, and then I don't know. Somehow, you make America better.
Yeah. No, I mean, I see. Like, there's this. Some people want DeSantis. Some people want Trump. I don't have much faith in either of them. But I actually think Trump has more likelihood of helping us out than DeSantis does, because DeSantis, I think, is more of an establishment person who pretends he isn't, where Trump is. He's just an idiot. I don't think Trump is like legit like a war hawk or a Zionist or I don't think he really likes Saudi Arabia. I don't think he really cares.
Yeah,
He's just
I would agree
he doesn't
with that.
know shit. And he gets in there, and these people are like, all right, do this. Now do this. Oh, we'll let you hold our sword and touch our fucking ball of Saruman thing if you do this. Like,
That
okay.
thing
Bro,
is
that
so
picture,
weird.
dude. That picture, dude.
What is that?
Dude, I
What
love
is
it.
that
See,
fucking thing?
Yeah. Like,
The fucking
honestly,
weird,
what
creaky
is that?
globe
Yeah,
thing
honestly, I
is-
want to know. Like,
I want to know
sorry.
why every president has to go and touch it like it's the fucking Stanley Cup. You know what I mean?
Stanley
Every
Cup?
president has to put their hand. What is that?
Here, I'll pull it up for you. Hold on. Let me
Like, if I were part of a
what the fuck, man?
if I were an elected official, right, and they said, "Hey, Mr. President, before you leave, we got to do the globe photo op," right? I'd go, Yeah, I just feel like optics-wise,
This
this
is not
isn't
good.
going to be great. I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to pass. But then none of them ever pass, right?
Right.
So something's weird. Because any
Yeah.
normal
Not only-
person, nobody would
Not only
pose
is
for
he
this.
not passing, but you look at that picture, you can tell he loves this.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. It's just,
What I've been
it's
waiting
hilarious.
for my whole life. I'm touching the globe, folks.
You know, what I did love about Trump, though, is I remember when we, repositioned troops on the border of Syria so we wouldn't get into a war with Turkey, and it was deemed abandoning the Kurds and pulling out of Syria, even though that's like not what happened at all. But he said, we're going to leave a detachment of troops behind to protect the oil. And people flipped the fuck out at him for saying that. And I was like, yeah, that's awful that, Syria is its own country and we're just going to keep troops there and take their oil from them. But at least he's like saying why we're actually there, like why we're actually keeping the troops there. It's not to protect people from Assad or some bullshit that you've come up with. Like, that is why we kept troops there.
Well,
So I just the accidental slips of honesty here and there when he was president, I did love those moments.
Well, it's funny you say that because like we talk about it on the show all the time. Like, I would never vote for Bernie Sanders. I hate probably almost all his
Same.
policies. However, that being said, Bernie Sanders doesn't bother me as much as like a Dan Crenshaw always gives an example, because Bernie Sanders is at least telling you to your fucking face what he you know what I mean? He's saying like, no, I'm gonna raise taxes. No, that's what I'm doing, okay? And you're like, okay, you know what? At least it's somebody that's telling me the truth. When a lot of the times, a lot of these guys run and they say, oh no, I'm not, I'm a patriot, and then they come and they spend the same fucking amount of money, but instead of sending it to fucking to the IRS or sending it to Ukraine, which honestly are both useless.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think Bernie is just as much of a sellout to his supporters as like Crenshaw would be to us, though, because Bernie talks like he's anti-corporate, he's anti-war, he's anti all this shit, but then he fucking votes for the CARES Act, he votes for the
good point.
the bailout of 2020, like all this shit. So I get what you're saying. Like, people on the left probably say the same thing about Crenshaw. That we do about
Good
Bernie.
point.
They're probably like, at least Crenshaw tells you he believes in small government, and we're over here like,
good point.
the fuck? Like, he does? It's kind of funny how
Good
that
point.
happens.
That's actually a really good point. I guess it's all perspective, right?
Yeah. Shout out to the World Economic Forum.
And now that big red, we talk all of this, and then we go really quick. We have to talk about our sponsor, Goldman Sachs. Can you imagine how funny that would be? All right, guys, let me tell you about the Federal Reserve and how cool it is. Fucking. Oh fuck. I mean, okay. So what do you sent me some stuff? So what are you working on?
Yeah, so I missed like the intro I got or whatever that you said. So I'm a podcaster, I'm a truck driver, and I was living out in Utah, moving lots of heavy equipment, but I'm from New Hampshire, and I decided to move back to New Hampshire after the last couple of years, just because, I've realized that lie that libertarians have always told, that most people are libertarian but they don't know it yet, is just bullshit. Most people are not libertarian. They're never going to be libertarian, regardless. They're never going to be logically argued into libertarianism. Like, they like either being told what to do so they don't have to think, or they like bossing people around. The people who just want to look after themselves are few and far between. So I decided, look, New Hampshire has the Free State Project, and enough people have been kicked out of their, or not kicked out of their houses, locked in their houses, kicked out of their jobs. And they've finally been like, okay, I guess now is a good enough time to head to New Hampshire because I like what they're doing. And we've had the biggest influx of Free Staters ever in the last couple of years. And now Free Staters hold a strong minority in the New Hampshire House and Senate. So basically the Free Staters control what ends up being passed in the state. Because, like, if you're a libertarian, as you know, like, the biggest thing isn't about what you can pass, it's what you can stop from being passed. And there's almost nothing that we don't like that gets passed, and then we're actually finally at the point where we're starting to be able to dismember laws that have already been put in place or whatever. And we like nullified all gun laws, so it doesn't really matter what the president and the House and Senate do. No local law enforcement is going to be required to enforce those laws. We're working on decentralizing a lot of things. Like right now, if even if we get a Democrat governor in New Hampshire, they can't do a statewide lockdown anymore. That's done on a town by town basis, and pretty much every town in New Hampshire would be like, "Fuck you." And as you can see from our messaging on our Twitter platform, we're really trying to, we're really trying to embarrass people who are from New Hampshire who don't share our values. We're basically trying to be like, if you're a conservative from San Francisco, you're embarrassed to admit you're from San Francisco, or if you're a liberal from Florida, same thing. We're kind of trying to create that in New Hampshire. Like we don't, we're not going to build a wall between us and Massachusetts, but we can just be obnoxiously pro-liberty, pro-gun, pro-individualism, and people will voluntarily leave and they won't want to come. So it's finally starting to actually take off because of the tyranny of the last 2 years.
We should do something like that with New Yorkers in Florida. I need these fuckers out of here. Like, I cannot stand them.
And Ontario. And
oh my God, the fucking snowbirds.
Mhm.
They need to fucking leave. I agree.
So haven't you to an extent though? Like, aren't they kind of repulsed by moving there at this point, or have you not seen a big difference?
You know what it is? It's somebody who does like you know what New Yorkers are, and I figured it out. It's like somebody that would be running like a healthy vegan plant-based YouTube channel, but as soon as they're off the camera, they're eating junk food and shit. That's what New Yorkers are. They talk shit about Florida, but at the end of the day, they really don't want to wear masks. They just want to virtue signal on the Upper West Side and say they do, right? They really actually want to go to Disney World. They don't want to be on a crowded subway. They want to fucking be here and be able to and not have to fucking worry if you're Asian that you're going to get fucking uppercutted for walking into a store. They really don't.
By a suspiciously dark white supremacist.
By a suspiciously dark white supremacist. So, so they want it, but it's like they're ashamed to admit that they like it. It's a weird thing. And by the way, they'll still vote like fucking lefty New York idiots. That's the other thing, because they have to be able to say that. But they love all the fucking freedom and all that shit here. Trust me, man. Look, there's a lot. There's a you and I probably have a different reason why you don't want DeSantis to run. I don't want him to run because I want him to fucking stay governor here for a while.
I don't want to lose him.
Sure.
Because he got rid of the fucking mask
I understand
mandate.
that perspective, by the way. Like him as governor is very different than him as president.
Right.
Very different scenario.
Right. He got the mask taken off of airplanes, like he took that away from Biden, which I thought was nice, because I'm sure that's something Biden wanted to be like, and today we're announcing we're taking, he's like I think 2 weeks before he's like, no, DeSantis did that. You can't. But I think that's how it is with a lot of people. I think that all these people talk shit, but I saw a stat today. I think it was 28% of address changes at the DMV since the beginning of the pandemic were changed to Florida addresses. Florida's going to have 845 new people every single day for the next 3 years.
And trust me, I know, because I'm in the middle of trying to move and trying to find a place. And we were talking about that before the show. And Royce is like, oh, yeah, you're fucked.
I'm like, leave. You need to leave. I don't want any more of you. Because sometimes a lot of people are like, well, I don't care if you come. I don't even care if you vote like us. Leave. Fucking leave. I can't drive here.
Hey, as long as you're spending money here, I don't need your money. Go.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't do Florida. Like I don't mind the politics that are taking place for the most part there, but I like mountains and I like snow.
I get
that. Florida doesn't have either, so New Hampshire it is.
But that's actually cool that you guys did something about it. Like that's actually, like, I honestly didn't know that much, because obviously when you don't live in a state, you kind of tangentially know what's going on, but you really don't. But that's actually pretty cool. A lot of people talk shit, but you guys are actually like, no, we're gonna fucking do now. No, we're gonna show you what we're gonna do. Yeah. And I mean, for the most part, I don't know, man. It's like I was. Mersh and I guess both were big 2012 Ron Paul guys, right? Like that was always it. And then you're like, okay,
that was the dream, man.
That was
fucking
the
dream, bro.
Remember they were arresting people for printing silver coins with his face on them? That was awesome. But it's I think somewhere along the way, and you were talking about it earlier, the Libertarian Party really lost its way. Like it became like a joke, if we're being honest, right? Like when you're like, okay, what is this? What's going on? And how did you guys deal with that pushback from the old guard?
Well, people were just fed up because, like, I remember in 2016, I was a Rand Paul supporter, and he is not his dad. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, he's good on a lot of stuff like Fauci and most of the war stuff and everything, but he's just not his dad. He's not nearly as principled, not nearly as exciting to listen to. And he just lost. And so then I did end up voting for Gary Johnson, but it was pretty tepid vote. Wasn't very excited about it. And Bill Weld sucked. I didn't even realize at the time that he was like a Raytheon. He worked for Raytheon in some capacity.
Jesus.
I forget what it was at some point. And
Which, by the way, isn't very libertarian.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know that or not.
He like softly endorsed Hillary Clinton later on in the campaign. Like, it's just awful. And then 2020, same thing. Like, I mean, I'm friends with Spike Cohen. I do like him. I think he's pretty good. He was the vice presidential candidate. But yeah, Jo Jorgensen, man, she was pretty good on the issues, but man, like the stuff she focused on, I was like, why are you talking about this right now? Like, why are you talking about being so anti-racist or whatever the fuck when we're being locked in our houses and they're taking trillions of our dollars and bailing out corporations and giving it to foreign countries and shit? Like, it seems like lockdowns and corporatism should be like at the top of the list of the things we're talking about right now. And then like all the riots going on, self-defense, property rights, like there's so many ins that were just missed. And Dave Smith, who's kind of become the new face of the Libertarian Party, like he was really hitting home runs on what we should be talking about all the time. And I think he's probably going to run for president. He's heavily considering it. And he's going to hopefully kind of bring that new face of understanding what's important at the given time and what we should be fucking talking about and what hills are worth dying on too.
Right.
It's okay to be an extremist if you choose your battles. Like, we're extremely anti-war, extremely anti-Federal Reserve, extremely anti-police state, anti-war on drugs. And we can argue about like privatizing the sidewalks later. Like, that's not like the fucking most important thing right now,
I really do like that though, because thank you. That's like, at least it's like, let's see the stuff that we can actually do. You know what I mean?
But we were joking just the other day on this show about that, how they're like, I'm like, the country's on fire. There's no baby formula.
Right.
There's an energy crisis. I mean, we're just inflated. Like, we're literally going to the 1970s all over again. And the president just goes on TV and is like, we're not being nice enough to gay people. Like, no, you're right. Honestly, we haven't given them enough attention or been nice enough to them. That's why we're having all these biblical problems.
Can they just stop being so nice with kids? That's no, but it's true. It's like the focuses are always like, dude, there's shit we could do fucking right now, and it's always like no gas cars by 2035. You're like, really? That's what's important right now? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and then, dude, the Republicans, like, seeing what their because this should be the easiest silver platter for them in history. Like, hey, we need to stop spending money and we need to end this war in Ukraine and we need to like start caring about our own people again. Instead, Trump gives his speech a few weeks ago and he's like, we need to execute drug dealers and we need to make sure our enemies fear us. And it's like, dude, what? Like, that's what you got for us? Are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, the Republicans aren't going to help us either. So Libertarians, they've got a huge fucking opportunity coming up, and I think they could really capitalize on it.
Look, man, I'm a big proponent of like what Merce was saying earlier. When you boil everything down to it, just fucking leave me alone. And I think that
I'll leave you alone.
And I'll leave you alone. That's exactly right. And I'll leave you alone.
That's the other part of that deal.
Yeah, it's fine. But the problem is that neither side just wants to fucking leave you alone, because I will agree with you. How many times all these conservatives are like, oh, look at them canceling people. Look at them canceling people. But then the moment like a lefty does it, they do the same thing. Yeah. They do the same thing.
And they never like take apart the structure that is crushing them.
Right.
Like, it's like, look, guys, if you had really gone after the FBI when you owned everything, when you were in the White House, the House and Senate, you could have done something, but you didn't. And now you're paying for it. And I guarantee you, like, next time they're in charge, they're going to do the same thing. Just they'll switch the people out, and then those people can just get switched out again, and everything's going to stay the same.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, but I have to ask specific, only because today's episode is on YouTube. If not, I wouldn't put this little preface, only because we've got hit before. But what is your favorite, and by favorite I mean that you think the most plausibility to conspiracy theory that is not medical based? Because
Nice.
no,
Well
I'm
played.
sorry. I have to say that only because
That's what they're hitting us for.
That's what they're hitting us. They're hitting all of us with those strikes. So
My most plausible conspircy theory.
Right,
It's not medical based.
correct.
I think, let's see, most plausible. What's considered a conspiracy theory now?
That's
like,
I actually saw somebody tweet that out. They go, "Hey, does anybody got any new conspiracy theories? Because all of mine came true."
Fresh out.
Is Operation Timber Sycamore a conspiracy theory still? You know, like arming ISIS and Al Qaeda in Syria. Like, I think that's fucking true. I would say
that's true. Yeah,
I'm friends with Ryan Dawson, and I know him on quite a bit. And we talk about 9/11 and the Saudi, Israeli, and U.S. intelligence agency involvement in 9/11. And I think that's an area where you have like I was talking earlier, you got an intentional narrative and an intentional counter narrative, and they're both retarded.
Yes.
And the truth is a bit more complicated in the middle. And so I think at a bare minimum, the Israelis, the Saudis, and the U.S. intelligence agencies all knew it was going to happen, probably helped it happen, and then obviously fucking raked the benefits of it afterward.
Or in my opinion, or at worst, let it. Even if they, let's say if you don't believe they helped it, they let it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, no doubt.
Which is just as bad. But that is absolutely one where I think the reason that that one got like so like, oh my God, those crazy. We always talk about in the show, one of the best tactics to get rid of plausible questions you have is throw crazy conspiracies together, and they mush them together, and then it's like, all of you are crazy, you know, all of you are nuts. That's not what happened. But you're like, no, hold on. But there is some stuff that you do ask. It's like, you know, I'm sorry, but there's no way the intelligence agency didn't fucking know what was going on. And then, you know, if you really want to get into it, Tower 7's a fun one, you know, obviously. Mm-hmm. And you start and you start asking questions, because the problem, people always still have this, and I think it might be we said earlier, like super naive, right? Like they always go, the government will never do that. And you're always like that Will Smith meme when you're like,
yeah, look at all this other shit.
What about all this?
What you're talking about is disinformation, what it actually means. I talked to Ben Swan about this once. He was like, you know, disinformation is a word we hear all the time now, but what it really means is when intelligence agencies or whatever purposefully inject ridiculous stories into the mix to discredit the truth. So this is another like Epstein is another thing I'm kind of into, and like with Pizzagate, you have the same deal. Like it just got kookified and turned ridiculous about like, you know, drinking the blood of children in basements, and, you know, like just people don't even want to hear anything about it. And they're like, well, what about the Les Wexner Foundation, their connections to Epstein, you know, they push for the Iraq war, and, you know, like all this shit. It's like, that's all probably true. And just because this bullshit, ridiculous story was pushed out in front of it, nobody wants to hear it anymore. That's 100% how it works. And then like the medical things you were talking about, it's you believe 100% of it, or you don't believe any of it. There's no room for nuance. So they put you in like either denier or confirmer camp on everything across the board. And there's just like no nuance at all.
It's kind of like how the Pentagon lost $2 trillion before 9/11. And everyone's like, hey, we going to talk about that?
Anyone?
Yeah.
No, I guess not. Okay, whatever.
You
guys
talk
do whatever you want.
Because now we're stuck with Pete Davidson.
Yeah, that's the worst thing about 9/11 is that we have Pete Davidson.
The worst thing to ever come out of 9/11 is fucking Pete Davidson.
That is the fucking worst thing. And look, I don't care how big that guy's dick is, okay? There's fucking enough of that guy, all right? What's your favorite Pete Davidson sketch? I'm kidding.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
Oh, fuck. Man, yeah, dude. What else you want to plug? We're coming up here towards the end of the show, so like, what else? And besides of course, which I just put it on the FSP.org. All right, Liberty lives in New Hampshire. Anything else you want to plug that's coming up?
Yeah, just go on YouTube and type in "War is Gay" and you'll get the Jeremy Kaufman ad. It's absolutely incredible. That's the guy we're running for Senate right now.
I think you sent that to me. Hold on, let me grab it.
You can play it if you want. It's only like a minute.
Okay, I will.
It's fucking worth it.
All right.
This is our guy running for U.S. Senate from the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire.
All right, let's see. War is Gay. All right, let's see. Hold on. I mean, I already like the title, so okay, here it is.
Picture this. Innocent people in the Middle East. They're having dinner. A bomb is dropped on their house, and they're all killed. What's the problem with this? It's being done by white men. I am Jeremy Kaufman, the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton and candidate for United States Senate.
This is amazing.
It is time to diversify the murderous military-industrial complex.
Amen.
We need to make the nukes gay. That's why I'm running for office. Like my fellow Democrats and Republicans, I will support every war. I will support stealing billions of dollars from Americans to kill innocent people, but we are gonna make it so gay. It will go down in the history books. We will say never have so many genders and so many races killed innocent people. Let's bomb Yemen, but let's make sure a rainbow of skin colors are dropping those bombs. These are gonna be the gayest transis murders the United States has ever performed.
Birthing person of
That's
all
what I
bombs.
stand for as the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton, and that's what I'll do once elected to the United States Senate. I'm Jeremy Kaufman, and I'm gay for this message.
This was really well done.
Bro, dude, the best part of that was, and we're gonna make it so gay.
So gay. This is fucking great. Vote like your pride depends on it.
This is brilliantly done.
Bro, this is fucking really good.
Sadly,
God
it's
damn
just
it.
reality now, though.
I know, but it's so
Exactly.
fucking
You can't
good.
even do parody anymore because you're like, yeah, this is funny, but it's like he's just like exaggerating what's really happening anyway.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
not even really an exaggeration. Like sometimes
I'm
it's just-
subscribing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's
brilliant.
Jeremy Kaufman. Just go to jeremy4newhampshire.com. That's the number 4. And you can check out his campaign there. He officially made it on the ballot, which we have to petition for every year because we don't have party access because we're a third party or whatever. But yeah, the likelihood is the Republican is going to suck just as much as the incumbent Democrat. So we're just going to push the Overton window as we do.
Fuck, man. This is a lot of fun.
That was so fucking funny, man. We're
Yeah,
like, it's
that was
so
really
gay.
that was fucking really, really good. Fuck. But yeah, man. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we gotta have you on again.
You're welcome on whenever you want. I know. Hey, I had done a show with you in Clip before. I remember now, right?
Yeah, Tower Gang. You were
Yeah,
on
Tower
with us a
Gang. That's
couple
what it
months
was.
ago.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I was hungover as fuck, so I was like, boy, if he remembers me, he might not want to have me on the show because I just kind of sat there in the background, like sort of zoning in and out. it was a fun week. We're up at Pork Fest in New Hampshire,
Right.
getting drunk. So
Yeah,
it was
no,
good.
it's dude. Please give me a break. Every time I interview a Libertarian, I'm assuming either hungover or about to be hungover. So it's like doing a show with merch every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Hey, by the way, tell Dave Smith to do our show. I've been trying to reach out to him. All right, I already did. Lewis has already done our show.
Yeah, all these guys
So-
have done our show. All you guys have done our show. He's big leaguing us.
Yeah, tell them to
Everybody
big
with
league us.
political aspirations. Nobody wants to come
No,
on
no
our
one's
show
come
anymore.
on our show no more. Nikki
Yeah,
Fried
it's gonna
backed
get
out.
really
pussy.
hard if he runs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nikki Fried's a coward.
Nikki Fried's a
Yeah.
fucking coward.
She ran from us.
She did. She said she was going to do the show, and then she goes, "Oh no, you're friendly with Alex Jones. I can't do your show." I'm like, "That's why women lose because they're scared." Fucking.
Yeah, because apparently, if you're friends with people that are nice to you, that's a fucking.
You're not allowed to be
cardinal sin.
friends with people. You just you
Oh,
either
this
agree or
person
disagree
that's
with.
nice to you, you've been nice to them back. You fucking
You
blacklisted.
fucking
All right,
assholes.
I guess.
All right. Hey, thanks so much, man. We really do appreciate it. You're welcome on whenever you like. Just let us
All
know.
right, thanks. Yeah, just Naturalist Capitalist is my podcast. I'm sure you already plugged it. Just Google that.
sir.
I'm the only one, and I'm the only Reed Coverdale, so you'll find me everywhere.
There you go. All right, man. Take it easy. Really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. It was fun.
See you later.
Yeah, thanks, man.
There goes Reed. He was.
was fun.
That was a lot. That was a lot of fun.